How I love to vibe when I'm vibing with you. How I love to vibe when the vibing is true. How I love to vibe when I'm vibing with you. We're vibing, we're vibing, we're vibing, we're vibing. It's Mike Kass Vibin Out.
Hello, beautiful spirit.
Whoa, you caught me off guard. Hello, beautiful spirit.
How's it going? How are you today?
Life is good. Life is good. Life is always good. You know, a lot of things coming up to be requalified to transition. I think it's a time of rebirth. You know, but doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing good too. Same thing. You know, lots of newness coming in. Lots of things to be released during the time we're recording this, filming this. It's the new, not the new moon, the full moon, and so lots of things are coming up. And who knows? Maybe when we post this, it'll happen to be the full moon again too. Maybe things will just turn out that way. I don't know.
Who knows? So, as always, we want to take just a few, like a minute, just to center into this now moment. And we used to do this before we would start recording, but we think it's beneficial to do it with you because we are connected. So we're going to take a few breaths to breathe together. And we're just going to we always set an intention that, know that this time, if you hear this, when you see this, you're meant to hear it, you're meant to see it, you know, and to allow yourself to be open-hearted, open-minded, allow yourself to be an open vessel to receive whatever you need to receive. With that being said, let's take a few good deep breaths. In through your nose, breathing into your diaphragm. Out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. In through your nose, sustain the breath and hold it. Allow yourself to be wrapped up in love and protection and warmth, understanding, forgiveness. Exhale. Notice how you feel. Feel more centered and grounded in the moment. It's really amazing how just taking a few deep breaths makes such a huge difference. And, you know, Cassidy's been there. I've done this in large and small rooms, you know, where it'll be several hundred people. And I'll literally feel the energy of the room shift. You know,
That's beautiful.
Just from us taking, you know, 3 breaths together and anchoring, and it's more calm. And
just that little intention, like when you said, just like I don't know exactly what you said, like let love or whatever go through you. And I was thinking of, we've been doing this thing where we put ovals around each other. And it's like an oval of just loving energy and just imagining that, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's white light around your body or protection or something. And I was just thinking of that and how that little small intention, just 2 seconds of saying, I surround myself with love. Love is within me and around me. You know, it can really make a difference. And if you are a visual person and do that little visualization, it can really help. So thank you for that.
And if it helps, it's real, you know, and you realize even more so as you get into your practices how real it is and how we are actually surrounded by an energy, a loving presence, a peace that's always available to us. It's just a matter of us slowing down enough, us getting centered enough, being still enough to actually feel into the truth of our existence, which is the benefits that, you know, Cassidy preached about, like importance of meditation as a foundation, because it allows you to do that, you know, and that's the truth, you know, and if we don't get back to the truth, we miss a lot of these days where we're in survival mode, all of us, you know, and we're just existing rather than, you know, thriving and really living the life that's meant for us. So hopefully that resonates with you. And, you know, I would bet you a ton of money that if you put this into practice, it'll work, you know, for you, because the hundreds of people that I've been able to help, and I know all the people that Cassie's been able to help, it pays dividends every time.
Why not try? There's nothing to lose, you know?
Absolutely.
Why not try? So today we are going to talk about, when is it what was the title? Like, when is helping not helpful?
Yeah,
basically.
when is helping not helping? When is helping not helping? See,
Yeah.
she actually came up with the title today and forgot. And that's why teamwork makes the dream work. When help is not helping. I was actually really excited about this one because that's something. This is something like our topics are all universal. You know, like it's something that everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
At some point in their life, and maybe if you're hearing this right now, maybe it's something that you need right now. And I know there's going to be at least one person. It's going to be like, that's exactly what I'm dealing with right now. I'm so glad that I tuned in.
Yeah, we're talking about kind of when somebody is in your life, you love them, you care about them, and they're going through a hard time, like all humans do. But when is you being there for them and trying to help, not helping either them or you? And, you know, is it selfish to let that relationship go either for the time being or forever, or is it not? And when to kind of prioritize yourself versus like, you know, just being there for the people you love. And I think there's a really fine line when it comes to that sometimes. Depends on the situation, the person, the just energy of it all. Like what comes to mind too is who the person is on a regular basis versus that moment, you know? But I don't know, does anything come to your mind of like when is the time to stop, or maybe a situation?
Well, a few things, like always when you speak and things start to resonate and pop up, and I just hope not to forget them. You know, one thing, like you actually touched on it, patterns. You know, if this is a person who always needs help, you know, where it's always something which leads to that person having a victim mentality, where there's always an issue, there's always a problem, like life is always going wrong, then energetically that's probably somebody that, you know, they need to help themselves, you know, and that's the energy drain, you know. So knowing that type of person. And also what came up is meeting people where they're at, and getting good at that, because like, you know, you mentioned friendships and personal relationships, but, you know, just thinking about every aspect of life, you know, like our business is the business of serving and helping people mentally, physically, and spiritually. But so within that, you know, whether it's a client, whether it's a coworker, you know, whether it's in all these situations, realizing everybody's in a different point in their life. And, you know, do they really want to be helped? You know, and not projecting your perspective of where you are in life. Nobody's better than another person. But, you know, if you're listening to this, that means you're probably somebody who wants to live their best life and is probably putting action towards that. And we all know that that's not the norm. So if you put an energy towards growing and up-leveling your consciousness, and then you run into somebody who's not doing that and not on that same vibration, you know, not projecting your level of consciousness on them, but being able to meet them where they're at, to actually, you know, understand and to help.
And still use your level of consciousness, but to their advantage and how they can, you know, work through it in their own way or something. But yeah, you touched on how, like, people need to help themselves sometimes, well, all the time. But, you know, a lot of people are more open to that versus others. I know we're both people that, like, we welcome in growth and advice and that type of stuff. And even if the ego in us at first is like defensive about something or whatever, we truly, like, you know, sit with that and feel it and see if whatever another person is trying to help us with connects with us and resonates, and, you know, we want to grow. And a lot of people are like that, but a lot of people are not. So it really depends. Has there been anyone in your life, obviously you've had to like let go of people here and there and stuff, but where it was this type of situation, and when was like the point when you realized this isn't benefiting me anymore?
Well, one thing, you know, before I get into accountability, you know, like if somebody doesn't actually, make sure they actually want to be helped. Make sure they don't just want to spill a problem out. So there's nothing, like, let me preface that. There's nothing wrong with venting. You know, we all have times where we just need to release something. You know, but are you releasing something to feel better? Are you just putting out negative energy? Like, some people just like to complain. Let's just keep it real. You know, so the first thing to ask is, like, does this person really want to be helped? Do they really want to be helped? Do you just need to be a listening ear, which is helpful? Or do they just want to be a victim? For me, on a personal and, even professional levels, like asking that question, number one, and what's come up and happened is that being people who actually have a heart for service, there's definitely been times where I've overextended myself to my own detriment. So I've had to learn that lesson over the years of, for me, what stands out, meet people where they're at. Just because you see so much potential in somebody, doesn't mean that they necessarily are ready to see that potential in themselves. And you got to let go and let them be where they are within that, and like really be okay with that. That's something that I've struggled with. And then also, when you really do love, somebody dearly and you care about them and they hold a space in your heart, whether it be a family member or a best friend or something like that, it's difficult, to just let it ride, especially if you see them having patterns that are destructive within that. But at some times, we all affect each other, so if their vibration is on this frequency, don't think that ultimately after a period of time, it doesn't start to bring you down.
Yeah.
So like when I started realizing that, things aren't changing on their part, like they really not about that life. And I'm starting to feel bad because when you help somebody, it's supposed to be a full circle. It's almost like you helping yourself. When you help people that want to be helped, you both get up-leveled by the experience because we're built for service. When you start feeling worse, after a conversation, after supposedly helping somebody, whatever it is, whether it's your time, your energy, monetarily, whatever, when you don't feel good about it, that's a sign, and we play a lot of time martyrdom, like that's okay, like for us to feel like crap, and that's like, oh, that's just a part of it. That's being a good person. Nah. That's bullshit. So anyway.
Stress should not be a given in life. Like, we've all experienced it and whatever, negativity and stuff, but that doesn't have to be the case. It's like common, but it's not normal. That's that's what I always like to think of. And yeah, to go off of that, I think to just be really in tune with yourself and know, when are you helping this person and feel good about that? Like, you feel for them, you're like empathetic or whatever, but it's like you come out of the situation like, I helped this person, this is good, versus, oh my God, I feel drained, I don't want to talk to them today, it's going to be this again, and blah, blah, blah. And just prioritizing your own energy.
Can you tell me, like, or tell the people, like, there's one situation that sticks out in my head of you overextending yourself to somebody who's been in your life forever. Do you mind, talking about that?
Yeah, well, two people pop up in my mind. Okay. We're not going to say it on camera, I guess. So I don't know which one. Not names,
but just the situation.
No, I know. I'm trying to think of which one. I'll go with this one. So, yeah, this was a person that was in my life for a long time. And just recently, I made the decision that they're not going to be in my life anymore. They are nothing but negativity. And, that's okay. I love them for that. But they don't need to be a part of my journey anymore, my path, because I'm not about that. And that's going to bring me down. Like you were saying, if there's different levels of frequencies, you kind of end up in the same, like in the middle, averaging out or whatever, if you're around somebody consistently, or even not consistently, but if it's every time you're around them, you feel this lower vibration, that you're not really in alignment anymore. And I felt a lot of guilt for even having these feelings at first. It took me years to be able to really let go of this person, and especially on just that psychological level. Let me think. My mind is like going blank right now of just, oh my gosh. But, I don't know why my mind is legitimately blank.
It's going to come back to you, but, always when you speak, things start to pop up and reverberate. It's like being honest about where you are. Sometimes there's times in your life where you're not in a place to help people at all. And that's okay. We all go through these ebbs and flows of our own growth. And sometimes, you're in a vulnerable state, like, being somebody who always wants to help. helping is not always the right thing. So being honest, like when not feeling like obligated, and like being okay to take care of yourself. And it's, we've been taught that it's selfish to say no, but really putting that oxygen mask on yourself is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you don't have to be in a good damn place all the time. So for the people out there who are the helpers, people pleasers, which we've talked about that a little bit. It's okay to say no. It's okay for you to not be necessarily even in a place to help people sometimes. And being honest about that. Like if you're going through your own thing and you're hurting, you're in pain, and then another person that's hurt that's coming to you like, oh, save me. And then you both end up pulling each other down into like a deeper rabbit hole that it's harder for you to get out, whether if you just took a few days or took a week or took a month for you to get back good in yourself where you actually could be beneficial to that person if that's the thing to do. And then also when you're in that space, sometimes you don't even have clarity. If you like, whether if it's a self-worth thing, for instance, like if you're not loving yourself enough, then are you really making clear decisions on who you should help if you don't feel complete within yourself? So it always ultimately comes back to us, and we're all connected. So that's where, like, when you're doing the right thing, it's just a full circle of energy, and you can keep moving and you feel up-leveled after that. But when you're broken and you're not doing it for the right reasons, and or somebody doesn't really be helped, and you feel worse after the case, it's pretty obvious. Like going in internally and just seeing how you feel, even like before you do it, if something comes up, whether somebody asks to borrow money, whether somebody asks for help with a relationship issue, whether somebody just needs a ride somewhere, even those little things, your time is very valuable. Ask yourself how it feels. Picture yourself loaning that money, giving himself that ride, having that conversation.
And are you doing it purely out of that obligation and guilt that you feel? Or is it you actually want to do this and are excited for it? And one of the things that popped up in my mind when you were talking like a minute ago was one of my friends one time, she reached out to me and needed to vent about something, but she actually prefaced it with, do you have the space right now, the mental space to let me vent to you? And I thought that was like awesome. And something just to keep in mind, and it sounds like it may come off really like stupid or weird or something.
That's an evolved.
But I found that to be amazing, and that gave me the choice, instead of just going to people and doing that. So that's just maybe advice, because we're all going to be in those places sometimes and need someone to talk to. But if we really want the best from people and want that reciprocated too, then to ask others if they have that space, the energy to give that to you.
That's so thoughtful. And like, not to draw a broad brush, but there's patterns and personality types. Usually I know to your friend, if it's something they learn, but a lot of times the person that would even ask that is often the person who's a lot of times helping other people, because there's a certain level of awareness that goes within that to even be like, to have the capacity to be like, hey, do you have the space and energy to be receptive to this? And if not, that's okay. That's such a higher consciousness even thought.
Yeah.
And people who do help people a lot of times put themselves last. So if you are a person who helps people on a lot of times, realizing that it's okay also to ask for help, which, something I struggle with. And, the other side of the coin of this is knowing that it's okay to ask for help, and knowing that we all need help sometimes, in different capacities, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to ask for help, and your heart and your intuition and your spirit will tell you who to ask, who it's okay to ask, to be vulnerable in that way. So I think that's something that, that's great that naturally came up, is like, are you one of those people who will be buried in a ditch, let your leg be cut off, be bleeding, damn near dying before you ask for help, but also at the same time on the other side of that coin, that person who runs to help other people?
Yeah.
Which is not even. That's not balanced.
Yeah.
That's me, just to be honest, and, I think a lot of us like this. We'd rather help others than be helped, but realizing that we all got to be here to help each other.
Yeah, and one thing I want to bring up that I've been thinking about lately is how our life is our life. Nobody else's. So my life is mine, And that's like in my life, what will make us all as fulfilled as we can be is usually serving others, is helping others, making the world, our community a better place. That's how we're going to get those great feelings and stuff and feel actually satisfied on that deep soul level in life. But this is our life. So we have no obligation to do anything for anyone. And I know that sounds so selfish to some people, or you think, oh, I'm just supposed to think about myself. Kinda. Like a lot of the time, like not, if someone's reciprocating that energy and you are helping each other grow, that's another thing. But if it's just a one-sided thing, you're always that person that goes and helps, but there's nothing reciprocated. And I don't even mean in the same way, but just a feeling of fulfillment, of anything, just of purpose or whatever. If that's not reciprocated in some way, then that's going against literally the laws of nature and the universe, which is a back and forth, a give and receive. We live in this dualistic kind of world that everything is attracting or repelling different things. It's all like two things coming together or going apart. And if there's some imbalance there, you're going to find issues. You're not going to feel as fulfilled. And so to really think about yourself in all these situations and what would actually be the best for you and make you feel fulfilled, not just happy in that moment on a surface level.
Yes.
And be okay saying no to people.
No is a powerful, beautiful thing. And some of us require overcorrection. I'm so glad that you said that. If you're a people pleaser, you probably require overcorrection. You need to start practicing saying no right away. If you are not a people pleaser and you just like helping people, still within that, you got to make sure that your cup is full first before you help anybody, so you can actually help people on the level that you'd be proud of. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that naturally, when we're in tune with ourselves and we do take care of ourselves, we actually naturally want to help other people and be of service. You know, so it'll happen. You don't have to force the shit. And if you forcing it, then where is it really coming from anyway? Like, where's it really coming from the right place? Because if you're not doing something from your heart, from that space, are you really doing the right thing? And so I know the automatic reactions that will come up when people hear like, "Now think about yourself." Now that's selfish. No, your ego plays tricks on you. Have you think, no, that's being a bad person. What if blah, 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 somebody's in the ditch? I mean, we're not trying to like kill this. If you saw somebody like hurting and you could pull them up and help them, that doesn't require a lot of energy. That's an instinctual reaction. But more the things what happen are day-to-day things where
emotional
exactly
stuff.
Where people pull and call on you for that type of help, and or certain things that you actually take a time and pause and think about, is this the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And am I in a place to actually really help without condition? Love unconditional, help without condition. Can you help this person without needing anything back from them other than them being in a place to actually receive your help properly?
Yeah, that's very, very true. And that reminded me of that person I was talking about earlier that I blanked out on, like what I could add to that, because we had kind of touched on like everything, all the feelings and when to stop and whatever. But the one thing where I learned to say no and was kind of that stepping stone process, so not just getting rid of them all like right away or something, that can be really hard to do. I could have done that. Maybe it would have benefited me in some ways, but it was just when this person would like call me or something, and I automatically, deep down, my intuition was telling me, do not answer the phone. I got mad. I started resenting this person. Right when I just saw their name pop up on my phone, I was just like, oh my God, like so mad. And so, like you were saying, where is this help coming from? Which, one, they were not open to that help, which then is it help, And two, like, that's not coming from love. That resentment, that pain.
That's deuces, baby. That's
peace out. No, like I was gonna come from that annoyed, frustrated, guilty space and just trying to change them. That was my like at first what I was trying to help them with. When they didn't receive that help, then I started trying to change them, which is the whole energy we do not want. And then it's not helpful for them either. You never want to be. How would you feel if someone came up to you and tried to change who you were? Yeah. And I'll be honest, I have unconsciously, of course, done that to so many people before. And now I'm more aware of it. And, you know, I either don't do that or get myself out of situations where that's the energy behind things. But that was the stepping stone for me when this person would call me and maybe they would be in a really bad place. And you may think, oh, like I should be there for my friend, my family member, my whoever, my partner, whatever. Like they're in this really bad place. But if that's a consistent thing and you're not in that place, you're not coming from the right energy, that's not helping anyone. And it's not just not helping you, it's not neutral, it's bringing you both down. And that was the thing for me. And then from there, letting go of that person finally.
What came in, let me just, your energy is very strong. And thank God it's mostly for the positive. This one has very strong energy. Thankfully, she used her powers for good. But within that, it came up the, you know, toxicity of it. You know, like, so if you're feeling resentful, that's toxic. And then you're talking to a toxic person and realizing that sometimes toxic people feed on toxicity. Like they don't even care that it's not going to be any good that comes out for them. They rather you even be there and you be all fucked up, and they still like will be like, yes, you know, misery loves company.
Yeah, why do we like drama? Why do we like reality TV?
It's crazy, man. And so that's a sickness. So realizing that, yeah, there is no help that comes from that. And if it comes back to love, ultimately, which I think everything comes back to love, if you can't help that person, love is still available to them from the ultimate source, right? So the reason why we can help people, or why I've been able to help people, is like when I've done my work to connect to the source, that love comes through me to be able to help. So don't think because you're not helping, they still have the best source available to them, you know, which is what they really need to find anyway. Love is always available to them. So, you know, that person's going to get help regardless if they really want it. It doesn't have to be you.
That like stroke an epiphany in me, kind of how like maybe us staying and trying to help that person is actually the most selfish thing to do, because then we think we have to be the ones to help them. That was just like, wow, maybe that is the most selfish thing.
You can drop the mic.
So that's so true. And it just comes back to really being honest with yourself, which is, you know, a theme in every single video we've ever made, every podcast. Being honest with yourself, being intentional, and just really looking at your life, looking at the people in your life, and what's actually happening there. And if you're in something for the reason of just it's comfortable, it's normal, you're used to it, everyone else does it, or if it's really serving you in the best way possible for your overall evolution, you know. And one thing that just came to me too was anyone in your life or anything in your life that you're maybe questioning, should I be doing this, should I not? Think of, like, envision your most ideal life. Is that a part of it? Is that person a part of your life then? Or could you see in that ideal world, maybe they're not there. They're not so necessary. That thing isn't necessary. That habit, that person, whatever. And if it's not necessary, then it's not part of your dream life. And that's what we're all going for.
Yeah, when helping is not helping, you know, and it comes back to the same things. And there's so many things that come back from either love being present or not being present, ultimately. And it always starts with the love for yourself. Because if you really love yourself, you'll help those that are supposed to be helped, and you'll have boundaries not to help those that don't really want to be helped. And so within that ideal life, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who want to be better, that want to be amazing, that want to see you be amazing, which is a very important part of that. Or those people you help and want the same good for you that you're trying to give to them. and that's very, very important. And so I think I'm done. Are you done? Is that good for today? Are we feeling good?
I think so. I just thought of one more thing. You kind of touched on it, but like how loving ourselves, like if we're trying to help another person, we're a person too. So we have to help ourselves, first and whatever. I don't know, it clicked in a different way to me. It's kind of what we've been saying, but you're that person also that needs help if you're struggling. And if someone else is kind of that catalyst for maybe some struggle, some painful feelings or something like that, then you're someone that needs that help too. And if you're open to receiving your own help, that can be a way for you to move forward too. So just different ways saying the same thing basically, but we appreciate you all being here. And if anything resonated with you in this, please leave a comment, reach out to us, give us any other requests you have. If you guys want us to talk about specific things, we are open to anything and love just having little conversations like this.
We love to hear about your situations. I know there's a lot of people this resonated with, and people you've helped along the way. Maybe you shouldn't, or people you helped and you're glad you helped, and maybe even things that you're struggling with now. But we really want to hear your story. So please take the time to do so. And as always, we love you, and we know you're going to have the best day, best year, best life ever. And we're connected, and we're holding space for you right now, forever and always. Till next time, I'm Mike. This is Kass. We vibing out, baby.
We just vibing.
Peace.